And economics. Steve Cortes is here. He's the founder of the real-time market research firm Veracruz, TJM. Steve, it is good to have you back. And when I got a little sarcastic there about investing in employees, it's because the whole minimum wage government-influenced changes kind of turned me the wrong. I go, wait a minute, you can't do that. Was Walmart responding to President Obama and some power of suggestion, or was this truly a beneficent move on the part of Mr. McMillian there?
Well, I would say neither, JD. I think it's smart business. Look, Walmart is doing reasonably well. It's not doing gangbusters like a lot of the U.S. economy, growing, but nothing crazy. But it felt that its associates and its employees deserved a raise, so I think it was just smart economics. I hope it wasn't responding to politics. And I think you're right, by the way. The idea that we should somehow villainize Walmart is kind of absurd, right? This is a great American brand, a great American success story. And interesting, too, the CEO mentioned that not only did he, but most of the executive ranks of Walmart started in the hourly fashion. So this is a great American success story. But I'd like to talk about really the broader situation. So it's good news for Walmart associates and employees that they're getting a pay raise. Most of America, particularly middle-class earners, are not getting a pay raise. And I think the reason for that, the fault there lies not with corporations, but with Washington, D.C. And I think there's two things going on. One is the Federal Reserve policy has really punished middle-class folks. They don't tend to own a whole lot of stocks, so they're not enjoying the S&P 500 at all-time highs, or if they do, it's in their retirement account. It doesn't affect their day-to-day living right now. But what it does is it punishes savers by earning little to nothing on your savings accounts, particularly for older folks who are on fixed incomes. This has really been a crushing policy to them. And then the second part from D.C. that I think is even more damning is regulation and taxation out of D.C. that is crushing entrepreneurship. For the first time that we've kept records in America, and this is really sad, we have more businesses closing than businesses opening. Most middle-class people, the way they move up the income ladder to become upper income earners is through entrepreneurial activities. Most people don't go to work anymore like maybe our fathers or grandfathers would have for General Motors and worked there for 40 years and end up in middle management. No, instead, they start a business that at first is on the side and then becomes full-time and then hire a couple of employees. It's the American way of entrepreneurial capitalism that has become much more difficult with increasingly meddlesome regulation and extremely high taxation.
Let's talk about oil for a minute, because the price for a barrel of oil right now is what, under $50? So it sounds great, you know, for people that are out there driving, but this can actually be a bad sign, right?
There is a downside here. You know, the Clampetts and the Beverly Hillbillies, they might have to move back to the swamp or wherever it is they came from and out of Beverly Hills.
No more swimming pools or movie stars.
That's right.
In the 20 seconds that remain, why not?
That's right. Listen, the quick reason is this, is that it's about demand, and particularly demand outside of the United States. The reason oil is crumbling, and most commodities, by the way, this isn't really a supply issue. I believe it's a demand issue. All commodities, almost all commodities, are crumbling. It's because of emerging market demand. China very, very weak. So on the whole, it's bad news for the global economy.
The global economy is one thing. What's going on within the boundaries of the United States, not only economically, but politically? Seems that our friend Steve Cortes has taken on a pretty important role. Back to talk more dollars, cents, votes, and maybe the next president. We'll hear more with Steve Cortes right after this.
I think reality tells you that the real issue we have to deal with here is not that the American people are going to accept a conversation, or for that matter a debate, about immigration policy until the border's secure. I don't think American people trust Washington to deal with this issue of immigration reform until the border's secure. That's the reason that we did what we did in Texas.
Back now on America's Forum with Miranda Kahn, J.D. Hayworth. You just heard Rick Perry there on the Fox News channel. And we're joined, I guess we could say it's one of Rick Perry's advisors. Steve Cortes, just named to Rick Perry's PAC Advisory Board. So there we heard the governor just talking about securing our borders.
Right.
in the final analysis, why are you now casting your political lot with Rick Perry?
Well, JD, yeah, I'm honored to be named as advisory board, and I'm excited about his candidacy for the presidency. I think there's two things here. One is, and it deals with what he just mentioned about immigration. This is a man who's actually governed. He's governed the most successful state in America for 14 years, the longest-serving governor in Texas history, a state that I think is a model for the rest of the country, economically and otherwise. Someone who's been able to deal with crisis, by the way. When it came to that border crisis, it wasn't President Obama who really showed leadership. It was Rick Perry. I think that's the kind of tested leadership that we need in the White House. Not another junior senator. We've already had that now for 2 terms. And even on the Republican side, I don't think we need that the next time around. We need a governor who's been through the fire already of crises and who knows about growth and jobs. Look, most of America, we've got the stock market at all-time highs, but paychecks are lagging and lagging badly. So most of America is enjoying, at best, a sluggish recovery. Texas shows us the roadmap, which is low taxes, constrained and sensible regulation. That is the roadmap to prosperity. And by the way, it's not just about oil. A lot of folks like to assail Texas and say, oh, well, they're just lucky, just geology, right? That's why Texas is doing well. Right. Texas is thriving outside of the petroleum sector, and it's largely because of the leadership of Rick Perry, and I think he's going to be our next president.
In fact, you think that so much that he's already launched an ad that's airing in New Hampshire, right?
That's right. So Governor Perry has not officially declared yet, but we're hopeful. I'm expecting and hopeful that will happen in April or May, so very soon. But what's also important is last time around, the immediate knock on Governor Perry's candidacy is, well, look at 2012. Look at the oops moment, and it was kind of a flash and crash, right? He went right to the front of the field and then immediately out. This time, I think he's humbled by that experience, number one. And he's a proud man, and sometimes he has some Texas swagger, but there is a humility and a thoughtfulness to him that I think is important, particularly this time around. He's taken his time. He's methodically prepared over a couple of years. He now has no job. He's unemployed. He's no longer governor of Texas, and so he can full-time run for the presidency, and I think he's going to be a formidable candidate among the Republicans.
Is he following McCain's footsteps in any way?
Well, I hope not. I think he's...
Just saying basically that he's been kind of doing some things that McCain did back in 2012.
Yes,
so
in terms of
that's
campaigning.
what I meant by that.
Well, let's, I just think let's set the record straight. Everybody tries, what you want to do is get everybody together, but first you got to reach out to the base. And one way you have to do that is with money. And so in this situation, we've got a deal where Jeb Bush, with the Bush family name and those connections, even into Texas, is going to raise a lot of money.
Sure.
Now, typically, we see Texans with the big purse, and yet the smart money is saying the big money is going to go to Jeb. Now, you're on this PAC committee. What are you guys seeing in terms of donors and the reality of people stepping up for Rick Perry?
Right. No, and JD, it's an important point. But first of all, clearly Jeb is the early front runner, both in terms of
just for the record,
and certainly in terms of fundraising. But by no means, this is
he even tried to interrupt us right there.
That's right. Yeah. But look, the presidency is no coronation, and we don't believe in dynasties in this country. The fact that we need another potential Bush versus Clinton face-off in the general election, I don't think that's what America really wants. In terms of fundraising, though, to get specific, first of all, the PAC Advisory Board for Governor Perry is a very impressive one, a number of billionaires, a number of incredible self-made people. So by no means are we going to concede fundraising to Jeb Bush, even though he's out to an incredibly impressive early lead.
We're running out of time. One word. Why should voters vote for him?
Jobs.
Okay.
Jobs. That's well, it sure worked out in Texas. Steve Cortes, we thank you as your job there at Veracruz JTM. After the break, a man with another job, John Bradshaw. He's written a new book. Wait till you hear the title, and we'll have him right here as America's Forum continues from Newsmax TV.